Welcome back to Iraqi Dinar Hub. Today we're diving deep into developments that could reshape everything for dinar holders worldwide. Imagine this: two of America's most powerful banking giants, Wells Fargo and JP Chase, are reportedly engaging in highly detailed, undisclosed strategies specifically tied to the Iraqi Dinar exchange. For years, talk of major banks quietly preparing for this possibility was relegated to internet forums and fringe investment circles, dismissed as conspiracy theory or mere wishful thinking. But something different is happening now, something more tangible. What was once hidden in speculative corners is now emerging through more credible, institutional channels. For weeks, chatter has been intensifying, and it's not just from bloggers or influencers. The new voices include financial sector insiders, employees within banking networks, and individuals close to foreign exchange operations. The tone has shifted from vague whispers to confident, informed leaks. These are not anonymous YouTube comments or third-hand rumors. These are murmurs traced back to those with real access to operational planning and internal systems. And while it's still not officially confirmed, patterns are beginning to form. These patterns suggest that structured preparations might indeed be underway behind the closed doors of major financial institutions. For years, talk about Tier 1 banks readying themselves for exotic currency exchanges has been mocked. From hidden rate tiers to secret appointment-only exchange locations, these stories were cast aside by many as pure fantasy. Skeptics rolled their eyes and dismissed it all as wild conspiracy or opportunistic sales tactics by currency dealers. But things are changing. Now, clues are surfacing not through sensationalized videos, but via quiet actions inside real institutions. Banking insiders have reportedly described internal sessions, step-by-step plans, and confidential memos referencing the Iraqi dinar and other exotic currencies by name. More importantly, these aren't isolated reports. Multiple sources describe movements happening simultaneously across various branches and departments. Foreign currency desks are reportedly receiving confidential updates. Select staff are undergoing new training and being given specific operational briefings. These steps are not standard operating procedure. For those paying close attention, it's becoming clear that something larger is taking shape. The puzzle pieces are starting to fit together. This is about more than rumor. It may be the lead up to a carefully orchestrated event centered on the Iraqi dinar. Some of the most significant changes are reportedly technical upgrades across critical banking regions. Specifically, Wells Fargo and Chase branches in areas like Texas, Florida, and Southern California are receiving internal infrastructure updates. These aren't ordinary updates tied to quarterly changes. They appear to be targeted and strategic, designed to support high-volume foreign currency transactions. Reports describe training for select staff on liquidity tools, specialized currency protocols, and even new platforms tailored specifically for handling exotic currencies like the Iraqi dinar. Sources indicate that some of these upgraded branches are already running live tests. These tests reportedly include references to the IQD within transaction environments beyond teller windows, reaching into wealth management teams and discrete currency departments. None of this has been publicly announced. Why? Public exposure could trigger chaos. Massive demand at branches, increased regulatory risk, and market volatility could all arise. So, instead, banks may be rolling out these systems, quietly phasing them in to keep operations controlled and risk minimal during this sensitive period. Silence, in this case, appears to be intentional. According to those familiar with the planning, banks are avoiding public announcements out of caution. Any confirmation could cause a flood of dinar holders into local branches. Not only would this overwhelm systems and staff, but it could also pose risks to foreign currency markets and attract scrutiny from regulators. Legal advisors are likely counseling against anything that might provoke instability. Quiet preparation and strategic rollout are far safer alternatives, especially with a high-profile currency like the Iraqi dinar. At the center of this are private banking and wealth management arms. These divisions already deal with high-net-worth clients and complex portfolios, making them the perfect gatekeepers for discrete, high-value exchanges. It's here within these private corridors that the most detailed planning appears to be unfolding. Confidential appointments, non-disclosure agreements, NDA, and invite-only meetings are reportedly part of this preparation. These methods keep the exchange process controlled, allowing institutions to manage risks while offering early access to trusted clients with long-standing financial relationships. Chase Bank, in particular, has reportedly begun experimenting with a highly selective invitation-based system. These aren't typical banking appointments. They're being presented as exclusive financial consultations, often folded into broader wealth management reviews. However, clients report being asked questions designed to quietly identify whether they hold exotic currencies, like the IQD. These meetings appear tailored to gauge interest and prepare systems for private client exchanges under the radar of public scrutiny and market reaction. Inside Chase, systems being tested are said to include pre-coded references to specific rates. These codes are not random. They align closely with language often discussed in IQD investment circles, including terms like structured payouts, tiered access, and rate brackets based on client profile. If this is true, it may represent the first concrete step by a US banking giant toward operationalizing a future exchange scenario. The fact that these steps are unfolding quietly only reinforces their importance. Nothing at this level happens by accident. Meanwhile, Wells Fargo seems to be taking a different but equally serious approach. Rather than focusing on client engagement, their emphasis is on system readiness. According to insiders, Wells Fargo is installing new transactional platforms capable of handling high-value, asset-backed foreign currency exchanges. These aren't minor patches, they're full-scale software upgrades being introduced selectively in key branches. And they appear purpose-built to support something much larger than normal currency operations. Wells Fargo employees are also reportedly undergoing specialized training focused on managing transitions for high-value assets. Traditionally, this kind of training is reserved for estate planning or private wealth transfers. But here, it's being tailored toward exotic currency exchanges, particularly involving the IQD. This level of preparation suggests that something serious is underway, not routine maintenance, but a proactive readiness plan in anticipation of potential foreign exchange demand at scale. Interestingly, it's not just the banks. There are reports of targeted outreach happening in specific communities, especially areas with large concentrations of military personnel, contractors, and affluent families. These regions are believed to hold a significant portion of the exotic currency market, particularly the dinar. In recent weeks, financial advisors have reportedly reached out under the pretense of general financial reviews. But after confidentiality forms are signed, the conversations shift toward the IQD and exchange readiness. These consultations are framed in broad terms: estate planning, asset protection, portfolio review. But insiders say the specificity of the questions and terminology strongly suggest a coordinated outreach effort tied to the currency. The presence of NDAs is especially telling. It allows the conversation to stay within legal boundaries while still passing along sensitive guidance. That kind of control is essential when dealing with something this potentially explosive. The focus on military and defense-linked communities adds another interesting layer. These individuals are often more familiar with geopolitical dynamics and foreign currency mechanisms. That makes them ideal candidates for early access and structured conversations. If banks or institutions were to roll out a private, tightly managed exchange opportunity, these communities would likely be among the first approached, both for their understanding and their discretion. All of this comes against the backdrop of Iraq's own transformation. Over the last decade, Iraq's financial profile has strengthened. The Central Bank of Iraq now holds record-level foreign reserves, providing it with more leverage than it has had in decades. In parallel, the Iraqi government has introduced credible anti-corruption reforms and tightened regulatory controls, earning stronger trust from international partners. The timing here could prove crucial, and we cannot overlook Iraq's natural resource wealth. With enormous reserves of oil, gas, gold, and minerals, Iraq is among the world's most resource-rich nations. These real-world assets provide the backbone for a credible move toward asset-backed currency, a concept gaining momentum globally. As the world shifts away from fiat dominance and leans into asset-backed systems, Iraq's dinar may finally find a legitimate place on the global stage. For too long, dinar holders have been dismissed, turned away by banks, scorned by advisors, and ignored by mainstream media. But now, there are strong signs that the tide is turning. Quiet actions by massive institutions like Chase and Wells Fargo suggest that those who held firm through the skepticism may have been right all along. If these banks are indeed preparing for structured exchanges, the early window could be opening soon. Wealth clients and those in targeted regions may be the first to get access. If client-specific rates are already in the system, as some claim, the general public may be left behind when the gates open. By the time announcements are made, the first wave may already be well underway. This is why preparation is no longer optional. It's essential for every serious IQD holder to act now. First, verify your currency. Ensure your IQD notes are authentic. Use the Central Bank of Iraq security features as a reference. Seek certified appraisers or currency authentication services if you're unsure. Even now, counterfeit notes exist. Don't risk being excluded due to bad inventory. Secondly, organize your paperwork. Keep your purchase receipts, certificates of authenticity, and contracts in secure, backed-up locations. If a bank asks, you'll need to present documentation fast. Equally important, consult a qualified financial advisor. Not just any advisor, but one familiar with foreign currency scenarios and cross-border asset management. These professionals can help you prepare legally and strategically. They'll guide you on documentation, tax readiness, and understanding subtle institutional language like portfolio assessments or asset restructuring. These could be the quiet cues you need to act at the right moment. And finally, stay grounded. Don't chase every rumor or guru prediction online. The internet is full of recycled hype and unreliable commentary. Focus only on verified event software upgrades, bank appointments, training sessions, and government policy moves. Real-world evidence is your only guide. Emotional investing is dangerous. Strategic investing based on facts is how you protect and grow your position. If these banking developments hold weight, and all signs suggest they do, then parts of the exchange system may already be live in CRA testing. Private appointments, quiet trial runs, back-end liquidity drills. This is how serious financial operations always begin. When the wider wave hits, it will move fast. Those already in place will benefit the most. Those waiting for CNN or Bloomberg to break the story might be too late. In every financial shift, it's the early movers, the prepared ones, who win. The ones paying attention, thinking clearly, and acting on facts. Right now, the evidence is building. It's not hype. It's preparation. It's positioning. It's timing. And it's happening quietly behind closed doors. Banks don't move this way for no reason. The moment is close. Be ready. Disclaimer: the information presented in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. It does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. The content is based on publicly available information, personal research, and reported claims that have not been officially confirmed by any government or financial institution. Viewers are strongly advised to conduct their own due diligence and consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions related to foreign currencies or structured exchanges. Iraqi Dinar Hub and its creators do not guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the sources referenced in this content and are not responsible for any financial actions taken based on this video.